we are going to go into the main event, which is the candidate speeches. Each candidate who is here will get 3 minutes, and we will get started. The first thing I want to do is to have each of the candidates stand up and come up here so that we are ready and we don't have to wait for transportation from where they're seated. So Warren, you have to come right back up. Mark Churko, Tonya Doby, I don't know how to pronounce her name, Gisela, Giselle Finch, Dean Gross, and Shelley Hasselbrink. I will have a timer set for the 3 minutes. After everyone is finished, we will have a short amount of time available for you to ask questions. Warren, you're first in line.
Thank you, and I'll try and stick to the script. Sometimes I run off script, but I did write something up. So I wish to thank the Chamber for this opportunity to share my hopes, dreams, and visions for our city. Now, 8 years ago, I doubt that I would have appeared here or been invited to speak here, and if I were invited, I probably would not have appeared here, because at that time, we were a very, very divided community, very contentious and very heated, and it was kind of a microcosm of what we see at the national level today. Except in 8 years ago, we weren't progressives versus Democrats. It was really more ideology. But I could not dream that I'd ever be here, united and in solidarity, and seeking what is good, just, right, and fair for our city, as well as the surrounding community. I could not envision that we would be able to exercise our fundamental rights as a charter city, the rights that are granted by the California Constitution, and that our city, the second smallest city in Orange County, that we can take a leadership role in standing up to the overreach by our state legislators. And I'm a nerdy introvert, and I could not ever believe that I would have the privilege and honor to serve you and the citizens here in the city. But I believe that God puts us all in place in time of His choosing, and to do His good works, and I'm called upon to continue and finish the work that we'd started by the City Council, and to regain our city's fundamental rights of local control to manage our municipal affairs in the manner that we deem appropriate. I believe that the Golden State of California is heading in the wrong direction with unsustainable policies, unfair tax burdens on those of us that actually produce something, unlike the entertainers that are out there with the loudest voices, the actors, the professional athletes, even the news media, the talking heads. They don't produce anything. You all know what it is to produce, and then we are taxed for those products only to be redistributed. I believe our tiny city can be that town built on a hill, a beacon of light in darkness, and as elected leaders, we must oppose policies as well as laws that affect our rights, our citizens' rights to safety, security, and our enjoyment of the American dream. I do not know what future issues that are going to face our city, but there are indications of more extreme state policies and laws that will further undermine and erode the liberties that we once enjoyed, and again, local control. Now, voters will be faced with a choice between 3 incumbents, a prior leader, and 2 unknowns, untested candidates. With 4 of us, you know what you'll be getting also. The 2 of us at the bottom of the ballot will have a bit of a challenge to overcome. I'm here today to ask for your support and your vote if you're registered here in Los Al. And I am running on my record. It's been 8 years. You saw what I've done. I served my community, our community here, and I've always voted my conscience and my convictions. And I've stood up for the citizens, the business owners, and stakeholders with transparency and fairness. I would be honored to serve for another term, represent the good people here in Los Alamitos. Thank you.
Next is Mark Churko.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. All right, that's better. My name is Mark Churko, and I'm a candidate for City Council. I have been a council member since December of 2017. I like to think of myself as very rational, practical, and only getting involved in issues that actually affect our city. And that's been my stance and my position and how I've operated on our City Council. I'm a pro-business candidate. I live in the Highlands neighborhood with my wife and 2 boys. I'm a business attorney, and I've spent the last 14 years representing businesses like all of your businesses. And so I know the issues you all deal with and the challenges you face as business owners in California. I believe it's been to a benefit to the city to have an attorney on the city council. The city council deals with federal and state legislation continuously, and that's what I do in my job every single day. Additionally, the city has a number of pending lawsuits right now, and pending lawsuits are what I do. I've handled thousands of lawsuits over the course of my career, and so it's helpful to have one member of the city council, at least one member of the city council, be a practicing attorney. The city council also writes laws. I'm sure you can understand it's helpful to have an attorney participate in the writing of laws. This year, a non-attorney wrote a law in our city, and now we're facing an exorbitantly expensive lawsuit as a result of that. It can be dangerous to have non-attorneys writing laws, or at least not consulting with attorneys when they write these laws. I'm also a Los Alamitos business co-owner. My wife owns a dental practice on Howard, so I see how much work she puts into her job. I see the challenges she faces as a business owner. And so I can sympathize with all of you, business owners, or just folks that work for businesses here in the city and surrounding areas, about how challenging California makes your life in business. I've practiced employment law for years. And I know employment law specifically is one area where the state of California makes your job as business owners almost impossible. And I have an issue with that as well. I am pro-business. I know that a thriving business sector is good for our entire community. When our businesses are doing well, our residents have places to shop, to work, to eat, to get their services. And so I know that it's important to have a city council that is pro-business, that supports your businesses, that really doesn't interfere, because you all know how to operate your businesses better than we do, but we are there to help to the extent possible. I've been on city council, as I mentioned, I've been on city council since December of 2017, and we don't always agree on the city council, that's for sure. But I think that's a good thing. I think you want people with different perspectives, different points of view. You don't want everybody agreeing on every single issue. Otherwise, you get no new ideas and no different perspectives. I'll finish up. Although we do disagree, we are not disagreeable, and we all get along. We have a cordial relationship, which was not the case a few years ago. There's two city council members, Troy Edgar, our mayor, and Richard Murphy, a council member, who are not running in this year's election. I'm proud to say both of them have endorsed me in this election. My main goals, these are kind of boring goals, I'll admit it, but my main goal, number one, is we got to address our skyrocketing pension costs. Pensions are going through the roof. We're going to have a $14 million deficit over the next 10 years. Very big deal. No good solutions, but we'll come up with the best solution possible to address that. The other is to get out of expensive lawsuits that our city is facing that provide no benefit to our city. We need to get out of those, and I want to use my legal experience, my legal expertise to help the city get out of those lawsuits before we spend millions and millions of dollars. Thank you. I humbly ask for your support and your vote in November.
All right, the next person is Tanya Doby, who should correct my pronunciation first thing.
I will gladly. It's Tanya. Super simple. So I hear I'm a little unknown around here. Hello, everybody. I'm Tanya Doby, and I'm running for city council. Thank you for my time. I brought notes because where I come from, the time they bring a hook out if you run over. So a little bit about me. I'm a CSULB grad, Go Beach. I also own a small business run out of Los Alamitos. I also offer HR consulting, so I would bring that as a city council member. I think sometimes it's important to stay focused on the needs and rights of people. I moved here about 5 years ago for the school district. I brought my 2 children. They both attend Rossmore Elementary. I have a 9-year-old and a 6-year-old. I am a very active volunteer. I'm on the PTA Council as a vice president of membership. I'm the Rossmore PTA volunteer coordinator. Now I have to let you know that they made that position for me because one of my strengths is getting people involved, getting people out there, filling holes, finding the people for the right jobs. It's what I do. And then I'm also our Friends of Rossmore. Every elementary has a Friends of group. I'm the president for the group on my campus. What else do I do? Oh, and I'm a commissioner for the Parks, Recs, and Cultural Arts Commission. I'm currently the chair. I've been on that commission for about 2 years, so I do have some experience within our city, going to our events, showing up, shaking hands, smiling, patting babies, all of that. I've been asked a lot about my platform. My platform is perspective. I believe in a diversity of thought. Like Churko was saying, you can't all agree all the time. We don't grow that way. And that's what I'm looking to offer and looking to afford our city is a different perspective, because I don't think it's bad to disagree. I think it's bad to not understand why we disagree. I would like to see us communicate with understanding, not listening to respond, but listen to understand where another person is coming from. I think that's how true and lasting changes can be made, and that's what I would like to offer to our city council. I want to continue to see Los Al thrive and evolve to meet the current and future needs of our residents and our visitors. Like I said, I moved here for the school district. I obviously believe in what's happening in this city, and in all things, we can only get better. The last thing is, I live in Apartment Row. I want to try to encourage, especially my area, to become involved. Although we are renters, some of us not owners, we still need pride of ownership here. We still need to have a voice here. And I am opting and asking you to help me to be that voice.
Next is Gigi Finch. That's like, my name is Cecilia, but I go by Shelley. Your name is Giselle, but you go by Gigi. Okay.
That's just easier. Actually, Gigi is a surname for Giselle, it's French, and it means a promise. So when I was a teenager, when I got tired of being called by my... Can you hear me now? I can hear me now. So when I was a teenager and I got tired of being called by my last name, Finch, I looked up the meaning of my name, and it meant a promise, and there was Gigi, and I've been Gigi ever since. I am a little nervous. I didn't expect to give actually a little speech here today. But I've moved here to Los Al probably about 5 years ago. I've been in Los Al probably about 10 years back and forth. Okay. So when I hear my echo, that means you guys can hear me. But I'm running for city council member. I started to run back in 2016. I had some things going on family-wise, so I changed my mind, and here I am again this year. But I've taken on an overload for myself, but I can handle it. I'm a member of Cottonwood Leadership College. I go to Cottonwood Church. I'm studying about the Bible. I am going to become a pastor. That's my goal. That's my heart right there. So that's number one for me. I've raised 4 adult daughters. I have 7 beautiful grandchildren. I love Los Al. I love everything about Los Al. When I was going out and I was getting my signatures, I asked everyone, what would you change in Los Al? And no one had anything to say other than a few potholes, things like that. Everyone loved Los Al. It's a small city. I think it's about maybe 5 miles in total, and I love it. And so I thought, why not join the city council members and see what I can offer. So when I looked at it as joining to become a member of something that's already been going forward, something that it's continued. So continued hope for a great city. Being a council member would mean that I would continue going forward. Continue means being relentless. It means it's ongoing, and that's what I would offer as a city council member, is to continue what we already started. And it's a great city. It's a great city for schools. My children didn't go to school here. But it's a great city, and I love Los Al. There's not much, again, that I would change, but I like the things that Mark had to say. I like the things that the mayor has to say. And so hopefully vote for me in November. I'm not going to hold it up, but just running for city council member. It's an opportunity for me, and I do live in the apartment district as well. It's quiet. We have a few things going on here and there, and again, just a few city holes and things like that, potholes, but it's not much I'd change. I love it the way it is. So, thank you.
All right. Next is Mr. Dean Gross.
Good morning, and welcome welcome to the Los Alamitos Chamber Breakfast. I'm sorry I missed the introductions earlier. My name is Dean Gross. The core asset of a leader is not a head full of knowledge, but a heart full of passion, and an ear ready to listen, and hands helping those who can't help themselves. That was written by an unknown author. I recently came across it and was very impressed with the content. I have a heart of passion and a head full of knowledge. I've served in the city council twice. I missed in 2016 for re-election by 108 votes. I failed to get into one area that I should have, and I know that. But I've been on the council in 2006 when the Chamber of Commerce had pushed that they wanted to have a representative on the council. I was fortunate enough to get elected at that time. I've served in an elected position ever since. I'm currently elected to the Orange County Central Committee for the GOP. I'm very active politically, and I'm willing to listen to every constituent, be it business or resident, and take your interests at heart and try to do the best that I can for you. The City Council is faced with a number of issues coming up. The unfunded liability for pensions is one. I know that it needs working with Sacramento in order to try and resolve that. I have connections and friends in Sacramento that I will continue to work with, as I have for the last 10 years, trying to find an equitable solution. Our City Council has been dropping hints of the last year that they're looking to potentially do a sales tax increase in order to help meet some of these responsibilities. I'm not a tax person. In fact, I pledge to you I will not vote to raise taxes or fees that are unreasonable or not needed. I've been in the chamber since 2002. I understand. I've been a businessman in Los Alamitos. I'm now semi-retired. The business closed in 2014, so I know what it is to sign the back of a check and the front of the check, and I will do the best that I can to represent everyone in Los Alamitos. I would ask for your consideration. I'm number 6 on the ballot, so I have a challenge to get to number 1, and I look forward to your support or questions that you might have. Thank you.
And batting cleanup is Shelley Hasselbrink.
I like that. So hi, I'm Shelley Hasselbrink, and I'm a 25-year resident of Los Alamitos, where my husband and I raised our 2 little boys. To our family, this community is where we live, where we shop, where we volunteer, where we play, where we serve, where we work. It's where my boys, when they finish school, want to come back and live and work and play. When my boys went away to college, it was time for me to step up my game and serve my community more, so here we are. In 2014, I came onto City Council, and I've got to tell you, it's the best job I've ever had. I've had an absolute ball. It has stretched me into ways I never thought I'd be stretched. It's made me think about things in different ways instead of my own little bubble, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I was the mayor in 2017. I'm currently on the Orange County Fire Authority Board of Directors, where we oversee a $465 million budget, 72 fire stations, and 1,900 firefighters throughout Orange County. Once again, another amazing job I never thought I'd be able to do. You're getting text. I'm also the vice chair of the Orange County Fire Authority Budget and Finance Committee, and I also am on the Budget and Finance Committee for our city, along with Councilmember Turco, where we were able to do a balanced budget in more difficult times than ever without cutting any services, and we're just a lean, mean fighting machine that we're very proud to be a part of. You know, over the past 4 years, this council, current council, has done quite a bit. We've almost completed the Los Alamitos beautification project, which hopefully is beautifying the business area and adding more patrons into your businesses. We did the groundbreaking over at Fairfield Inn and Guest Suites, which should be opening up next year. That's going to add a lot of foot traffic to those businesses there, especially the restaurants. We refinanced Laurel Park at a much lower interest rates to save some money for the city. We completed Coyote Creek Park, our little passive park over by middle school, and now it has a bike maintenance station, one to one of our generous donors of Trizone, where they put in a bike maintenance station for the bikers there. We installed new playground equipment over at Cottonwood Park, at Orville Lewis, and we're now doing it at Labradette Park. We've redefined our relationship with JFTB, which is always an interesting moving target since their leadership changes about every 2 to 3 years. We have a very solid relationship with them now. They are a long-term community partner, and we need them. And it's great to have one of the only military bases left in Orange County right in our own backyard here. We've got a lot of work ahead of you. I talked about it last month. We've got traffic issues that are unsolvable, but we still need to address them and making sure that we're not impeding traffic, but whether, working on the traffic flows. We've got to continue our synergy with the school district, with the JFTB, and also our surrounding communities. We cannot do this alone. And so we need that synergy. We need those partnerships that we need to continue to work on. We need to find new revenue streams. You'll hear a lot about pension liability. It's from sins of the past, but it's something we have to fix. And we are not looking at sales tax right now, but we are looking at other options. None of them are good options, but it's something that we need to address, so you'll hear more on that. So I'll close with, I would appreciate your support. I've got flyers and endorsement forms in the back. My signs will be going up not till probably the beginning of October. I just don't think it's necessary to have them out there that long. But I would always appreciate your support. The business community is vitally important to us, and your support speaks volumes. So thank you.
Very good. Okay, we have some time left for questions. If you have a question, please raise your hand. I have a question of Mr. Churko. Given that the unfunded pension liability is a state responsibility, how do you see a teeny tiny city like Los Alamitos addressing it?
Well, I know we're not going to address the state's problem. What we have to address is our costs here in the city. And Councilmember Hasselbrink is right. We have not talked about a sales tax increase. We've only talked about the fact that we need to come up with something. And we need to come up with something not to address the large state issue. Our job is here in Los Alamitos. So we have to figure out how we're going to pay for that $14 million of unfunded liabilities over the next 10 years. No options are good. To pay something like that, you either increase revenue or decrease expenses. And anyone telling you they've got a quick, easy solution to this problem, you should question them some more, because there's no good choices. But that's what we're on the city council for, is to make tough choices, to explain it to our voters, and move on from there and try to solve the issues that we do have. Thank you.
Okay. All right, everybody line up and reintroduce yourself. Keep going, keep going.
Tanya Doby with a D.
Dean Gross.
Gigi Finch.
Mark Churko.
Shelley Hasselbrink.
Warren Kusamoto.
Mr. Barkey, you had a question?
As a school board member, our relationship with the city is very important. Could you briefly comment on your perspective with the Los Al City and your relationship with Los Alamitos Unified School District?
Absolutely. Well, I'm also a parent, so I intrinsically believe in the relationship between the city and the school district. I think it needs to be flawless and seamless and absolutely reciprocal.
Thank you, Dr. Berkey. I am a parent, a grandparent, and a great-grandparent, so I do care about what happens with our schools. I've had a good relationship with all members of the Board of Directors or the Board of Education in Los Alamitos, and look forward to continuing to work to bring the best that we can to our community.
Hi, actually, I have 4 adult daughters, so they don't go to LaSalle schools, but I've heard nothing but great things about it, and I think it's a major part of the city of Los Alamitos. Nothing but great things, yeah.
Thank you. I'm a father also. I have a 6 and 4-year-old. The boys go to Rossmore Elementary. I'm a member of the PTA, and I have the utmost respect for the school district, and I know what you all do is very important. In fact, my 6-year-old recently saw your banner up at the entrance to our neighborhood, and he said, "Are they running for city council too?" I said, "No, they're running for school board." He said, "Is that like city council?" I said, "Yes, but it's about education, so it's even more important."
So I've always said you can't have a good city without a good school, and you can't have a good school without a good city. And I think because of those two things, that's why people move to Los Alamitos. I am an alumni parent of Los Alamitos School District. My 2 boys went through the system and they turned out okay. So I'm going to do whatever I can to support whatever the school district needs to make sure that we have viable, thriving schools for our future generations. So once again, my future grandchildren will be going to Los Alamitos High School.
So, like city politics, our relationship as a council with the school board has its good times and not so good times, but it doesn't mean that there's terrible disagreement. I think the main thing is the partnership that we engage in benefits the community, and I think as our city we have to recognize that we are a small subset of the footprint of the school district. They have their policies and governance that they need to execute to serve their constituents, and we need to partner with them so it doesn't impact ours in any kind of adverse way. So I think the relationship that we've had has been terrific. I think we work at the ad hoc level as well as council to board, and it is what helps make our city great. We help make the school district great, but they have other partners as well as the community of Rossmore and the city of Seal Beach, and we actually work with those 2 entities as well in concert just to bring good things to the people both in the city as well as in the school district footprint.
I have a question also for the candidates. We did go through the beautification process. It looks gorgeous on LaSalle Boulevard, but we have had rumblings that it has affected sales at the businesses. Sales have been down. Has the city looked into that at all? I'm afraid the candidates may not have. I mean, the non-incumbents may not know about this, but anybody address that?
So I think the impact to the local businesses along the boulevard, I know that this came up in the council meeting as what we can do, and one of the measures that we did take is we studied the 3 lanes versus 2 lanes and looked at perhaps keeping the 3 lanes, and we actually decided to stay with the original plan, go to 2 lanes in either direction, and that was in part to certainly help the businesses along the boulevard. So my colleagues actually voted in favor of this, and I'll have to say I opposed it because I like the extra capacity, but this is a council decision. I fully support what we did as a body. We had as Councilmember Churko mentioned, we have a diverse set of opinions. We don't all have the same group thing, so we'll see how that all helps in terms of traffic flow and certainly the impact to businesses. But I know that what I've seen on the local businesses, the parking lot where we go, Center Plaza, has been quite full, and sometimes we're not able to stay there to enjoy a meal at the restaurant, but we'll do takeout instead. But I guess there's other impacts. Certainly bring that to the city manager. I'm going to put the city manager on the spot. Bring it to his attention so we can certainly bring it up to the council as to ways we can help and partner with the community to help them be successful, because we recognize your success is certainly on our wish list to make sure that you're successful.
I think with the construction, it definitely impeded our businesses for some extent, but that was a temporary thing. I think we're now coming out of that. Businesses will start thriving again. We're opening up the hotel. We're opening up Wahoo's, I believe, next week. That's going to bring more people in on their way home. And I think that'll affect all businesses, especially with the holidays coming up. I just think that was kind of a temporary glitch, and I haven't heard of anything permanently impacting or long-term impacting, but if there are any issues, please contact any of
Okay, anybody else have any other questions? All right, please be seated.